Welcome to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. Every Tuesday, Michelle and Roger Welch take a deep dive into the intriguing and proactive world of metaphysics, a world beyond our human perception. They'll talk to empaths, readers, and other guests from all walks of life to find out what's hiding under the surface, uncover the mysteries of our modern world, and reveal the answers you need to live a happy, healthier life. Now, here's your hosts, Michelle and Roger Welch.
Well, hello, everyone, and I also want to thank our producer, Matt Stoker. I just have to say thank you for being here and helping us get everything set up. How are you doing today, Roger?
Good. What about you?
Great. I'm so excited that we have Sasha with us again. She has been so busy, and I'm going to go ahead and read Sasha's bio to you guys so we can just jump right in. Because we've been talking ahead of time and we've already said our hellos, so now I want you guys to meet her if you have not already. Sasha Graham teaches and lectures around the world. Her work has been translated into Chinese, Italian, Russian, French, Spanish, Polish, and Portuguese. She is the author of Tarot Diva, 365 Tarot Spreads, 365 Tarot Spells, Llewellyn's complete book of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, and the forthcoming, it's out and we have it, Magic of Tarot. She served as editor and writer of Los Scarabos Tarot Fundamentals, Tarot Experience, and Tarot Compendium, and Tarot Original 1909 series. Sasha is a contributing author of Llewellyn's Magical Almanac 2020-2022, Witch's Date Book. We order all these, you guys. We have them all at Soultopia. They're all coming in. Date Book 2022 and Llewellyn's Witch's Calendar 2021-2023. Her tarot decks include, I lost my place, where is it, Roger? Tarot of the Haunted House, right there. Wow. Darkwood Tarot. Wow. And the forthcoming Tarot of the Witch's Garden, which we don't have in yet, so we'll ask her about that. Sasha's evolving story, you might call it a fairy tale, just goes to show you that what happens when you push forward, follow your instincts, and believe in magic. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be back with you guys.
I'm so glad you're back. I know how busy you are. You have been. I've seen you on the Instagram. I've been following this life of Sasha Graham on Instagram, and you are doing something constantly.
Michelle's a Sasha stalker.
We had to make up for the pandemic, so I'm trying to do twice as much.
Yeah, well, you are. Yeah, I'm a Sasha stalker.
Yeah, Michelle's a Sasha stalker.
Yeah, that's a new one, a Sasha stalker. So, but you have been so busy, and, I also have watched it more now because I told you my son and his partner James moved to New York, and so they had not relatives, but almost like relatives visiting this past week. My best friend Judy is there, but I keep telling them, so you advertise these events, and I keep sending them to them saying, y'all need to go to these events, and so now I've been more watching the New York City stuff a lot more than I did before.
Mm-hmm. Tell them I have one coming up next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is a Spirited Away Psychic and Paranormal event.
I will tell them that for sure.
Fun.
For sure. Well, let's just, I will tell you that I just talked about your deck on my Tarot Takeaways with Arwen on, you were on Tarot Takeaways, weren't you, or you're about to be? You were, yeah, and then and then I'm sorry, I'm confused, but Arwen was on Friday, and we talked about the Chariot card, because it's an interesting one. It's an eagle, is the Chariot in your Darkwood Tarot, I believe. And so you came up and we were talking about it. Mm-hmm. And so we've talked about this deck a lot because we think it's beautiful and there should be clothes made out of it and fashion shows and everything else. But
that's because you want to bring back all the cloaks and daggers and all that stuff.
Well, I think it's beautiful and the colors are beautiful. So, Roger, did you want to dive in and start asking her some things?
Sure.
Or I'll just sit here and talk to her forever about.
Absolutely. Well, that's fine. She'll answer too. So tell us about your book.
The book Magic of Tarot is was really an opportunity for me to put together a lot of the material that I've been teaching around the world for the last few years. Also dive into how to create a tarot practice for yourself that also encompasses magic. And I think a lot of people think that tarot and magic are two separate things, but they're not. They're one and the same.
I love that. And I haven't sat down to read it cover to cover, which I will because I do the books that come into our store. I want to. And this is what I want to. I mean, I'm excited to get into reading this book. But I was flipping through, and what I like about it is you do teach also you talk about the clairs, all the the intuition and right at the beginning, and it's not just your normal book. It's different than other and I'm not just saying this, you guys. This book is different than other tarot books I've seen. Would you agree with that? I think you would, right?
I hope so. I mean, I want to try and push myself and kind of forward to offer something that people haven't seen before, and hopefully a new resource that can help them dive deeper into their tarot practice.
I mean, it does. I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, you add incense to use in their magic practice with their tarot. I mean, you can open it up, and I mean, it's a really, really good, not just resource, but it's this book I could sit down and read too. Now, you know me, Roger, I like an encyclopedia, but I'll read an encyclopedia, but I also like a book that I can read and sit and read it like it's interesting to read as a book. And this seems really both a resource and something that everybody should read. So I think that there are several reasons to add this book, The Magic of Tarot, to your library. Why would you think people should add it to their tarot library or book library?
Well, one of the things that I was most excited to put in the book is that it's full of writing prompts and journaling prompts for whoever's reading it. And so I love a book that you can actually write in or sort of pair up with your journal and really take a deep dive into figuring out what you think about the subject matter. So really, the Magic of Tarot was really an opportunity for me to sort of say, look, your experience here in the material world on Earth you can be the Indiana Jones of your experience. Nobody interfaces with the material world like you do, and we're all different. And that's why everyone reads tarot differently. You'll never get the same card from two different people in the same way. So I was really excited to create a thing that hopefully will just inspire people to move into their depth and complexity as human beings, as super beings.
So we said before our show started that we were having some little glitches. We don't know which end they're
Leftover
on.
Mercury retrograde.
And so it's over. I think all these planets going wackadoodle. So and we decided that you guys at home can just can drink every time the screen freezes, and we will all have a good time, right?
Exactly.
So and just roll with it, because it seems like, now I'm always excited for every one of our guests. So don't take this personally if you've been a guest and everything went perfectly. But every time I'm really excited about a guest coming on, maybe it's my nervous energy. Do you think, Matt? Maybe it's that?
It could be. You're jinxing us a little bit.
Yeah, it's my energy, that the energy of excitement too, of having a very special guest on, because I do get a lot high strung that I want everything to go to perfectly, right, Roger? So anyway, everybody just roll with us. If Sasha gets frozen, and she's so beautiful, and that background is beautiful too, so that she has where she's filming.
So Sasha, if you're looking at Dark Woods Tarot and you're looking at your book, The Magic of Tarot, kind of side by side, you can definitely see the artwork and the colors and things like that very much match up. What else related do you see in the card deck and the book?
Well, so the Magic of Tarot was also an opportunity for me to go further with the shadow work that I talk about in the Darkwood Tarot. So the companion book for the Darkwood Tarot, while it's beautiful and comprehensive, is also, I couldn't go as deep into the shadow work. So definitely shadow is in there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So explain to people, some of our listeners that are maybe, or people watching that are, we have people brand new in our store every day, really. How would you explain shadow work?
So, so on a very simple level, the shadow or your shadow self or shadow work is bringing the light of your consciousness to those things you are not aware of.
Yeah. So, and that's why we need to do that. We don't want to just steer clear of our shadow all the time or hide it away or all the time. We do that sometimes, but that shadow work sometimes is needed to actually heal or move on in life, I believe. And so that's why I believe this work is so important.
Yeah. And I think that, we don't read tarot to find out what we already know. Right. The point of reading tarot is to discover what we don't know. So shadow work really helps us kind of move into those directions.
Right. And shadow work, I think a lot of people, and this is sort of off the subject, but sometimes shadow work, people immediately assume it's all negative. I don't believe it is. You may have shadow work and you find out something really wonderful about yourself that you really have stuffed down because of something in your life, and then it comes up through that shadow work. I think that's what I think of it anyway.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I would say that, if you're talking about shadow work is examining the things that you've repressed within yourself, how many good things have we repressed? How many gifts, how many talents, how much love? Right? If you have love in your heart for something that someone told you was wrong, you might repress that love. That would be in your shadow. The same if you have a phenomenal singing voice and somebody told you when you were a kid, oh, you shouldn't do that. You might repress that talent. There's so many marvelous things that exist in the shadow. And even if you're discovering something dark and kind of icky, just acknowledging it and then letting it go brings freedom and light. So, shadow work gets kind of a bad rap. I think it's one of the most powerful things a person can do.
I agree with you on that a lot. And I think that's why I think it is so important for us to explain it to, especially as we notice in Soultopia, that we are seeing people come through the doors, every day that one of the first things they say to us is, I'm new. And we're like, you're not new, you're just welcome. But it can be overwhelming, all the stuff that we have in our stores. And so I'm glad you explained that in a way that all of us can understand. I'm going to get a little bit off subject and go back to your haunted house deck. Because Sasha, you guys, has been in a bunch of movies too, right? And so is that why you were those tied together at all? The haunted house, or they're more horror stories though, or horror movies that you were in, right?
Yeah. I made, I think, something like 16 horror movies in the 90s, B movies, straight to video, back in the Blockbuster days. But that came from, I have a huge love of the supernatural and a huge love of horror fiction, horror movies, horror everything. So, and really Gothic horror. I love the dramatic, beautiful kind of Dracula, Anne Rice Interview with a Vampire. So when it came time to make my first tarot deck, I thought, well, what world am I going to set this in? What is my aesthetic? Right. And at the time, I had been collecting 60s and 70s Gothic novellas. And I love those. I love 70s haunted house movies, because the house is really a metaphor for the self. And it's always a female, right, in these books and in these movies, who kind of shows up at the haunted house as either a governess or, invited as a guest. And she's terrified of what she finds inside, right? This is shadow work. But by the end of the movie or the end of the book, she owns the house. Right. And it's about coming into your power. So it's really a deck about confronting those things that scare you, so you can unpack them, move through them, and become whole.
Roger, what'd you say? We got a bunch in, and that's our only one left?
Yeah, that's the last one.
We ordered a whole bunch. We just...
I think I had 18 or 24 decks, and that's the last deck. And I was hunting for it.
Yeah, we got them just a couple weeks ago, right? For Halloween, and just thought, okay, we're going to get a bunch. Not that that would only be for Halloween, but we did get some this year to have kind of a Halloween display at the stores. And yeah, he
I
said
think
that's
there's only
awesome.
4 or 5 decks. Of
And we
the
just
dark
ordered.
wood.
Yeah. Well, I have an order sitting in the cart to reorder all of this and the Magic Tarot too. Yeah, they just fly. Your stuff flies out of the stores.
Do you guys go crazy for Halloween? Do you like do it up?
Well, we do.
We did a lot more used to.
We usually do a whole lot. And we used to have themes for our what's called our Soultopia Sensation, which is one of our kind of psychic fair days. We have 2 first and third Sunday discounted readings, things like that. The one that was Soultopia Sensation, we used to dress up every single month was a different theme. And after a while, I was like, well, Roger loves to dress. I mean, like he loves to go buy all the stuff. And I was like, all our money is going into, but so the answer is yes. I feel like this year we're a little behind on our job.
Probably.
A little bit behind, yeah.
I've only been to the Halloween Superstore twice.
Yeah, that's
And it's the 18th of October.
that's he's way behind for we've just been so busy. But yeah, do you?
Do I what? Go crazy for Halloween?
Yeah.
No, actually, because I honestly make an effort to make every day feel like Halloween. I mean, that's the joy of being a tarot reader. You're constantly in the spooky.
Well, and that kind of, you know what, I guess that's kind of what's true in the stores too now, because you kind of go, okay, we need to decorate, and then we look around and we think, okay, but we've got prettier, real things than bringing in tacky things to decorate. I mean, the stuff in our store is nicer that's already here.
And the few Halloween decorations that we have sitting around, people are always trying to buy them. No, that's a decoration. Sorry.
So, yeah, I think that's true of us too, that we do that. So we've gotten less and less of the cheesy stuff and more just, it seems natural that it's already in our stores, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the herb section, feels very
witchy.
It is. So it's already, every day it's that way. But that's a good point. So let's talk about the magic. Back to, why is tarot to you so magical? Back to your book, The Magic of Tarot. Why is it so magical?
So tarot is so magical because it's a visual tool. And so if you look at vision boards, right, that people, when girlfriends get together and they cut out stuff from magazines that they put on a vision board, and inevitably that's not, I mean, it really works. If you create a vision board at the end of the year, 9 times out of 10, most of that stuff will have been manifested. So things that are visual and things that are symbolic move straight into our subconscious. And that's what magic is based on. So on one hand, the cards are brilliant for creating magic in your life in that way. But I also love to talk about taking the cards like medicine, right? Kind of charming yourself into a card, kind of stepping into the energy of any given card that you'd like to commune or kind of like put on for the day and bringing that out into the world. It's a very powerful thing and it's a fairly simple thing to do. I don't think magic needs to be hard. I think that the best magic is kind of very practical and simple.
I agree with that. And not to knock anybody who likes to make magic really, really super ritualistically hard. For me, maybe I'm lazy. I just like it to be pretty simple. And for me, right? We always talk about it. You like a lot more components to go into it. You like the and I like more of the energy, moving energy with my magic.
And I see a lot of people like on Facebook and some of the Facebook groups, and they're always talking about, does anybody have a spell for this or a spell for that? You really want to tell them, why don't you create it around this? What you're trying to do, if you're trying to bring love in or something,
to guide them.
Yeah, maybe. To guide them more than just say, okay, yeah, here's a recipe, follow this recipe exactly.
Yeah.
Just like you're cooking.
Yeah, it's hard when people are first starting because they don't know and they need a little bit of guiding.
Just a guidance.
So,
And I think doing kind of ornate spells, going through the process of really, like calling to the corners and creating something very ritual. That's a very powerful thing to do when you're first beginning, because you'll literally kind of step back and go, whoa, like what, it's part of the learning process. But I feel, and it's fun when you're in the mood, when that's kind of, or when the spell calls for that. But I think maybe it's just my age.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Or maybe it's just the fact that everything seems so magical to me that like you could go outside and, like you said, like work energetically, like with a willow tree or with a pear tree, and kind of do something with that. Yeah, it's kind of simple, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I think you can make it as complicated or as involved or as ritualistic as you want to make it. That's just like any other thing in your life. As much as some people enjoy ritual a whole lot. In fact, a lot of people grew up with a lot of ritual, and they want that in their life when they maybe begin practicing something different in their life. At least from down here in the Bible Belt, maybe they grew up with a lot of ritualistic things and they still want ritual and ceremony in their life very much. So that's very, very, very important to them. So not to take away from any of that, but for me, I'm just like, okay, let my mind move that around a little bit. But sometimes I need the tools to, because my mind
hard move it around, right?
Let my mind move that around. Okay, so when we were playing with your cards the other day and getting them out, I just remembered again the power of these beautiful colors. And again, they're mirrored, like Roger said in the book also. Did you come up with the colors, or did Abigail come up with the colors, or was that a combination, a collaboration?
So if you look at Abigail's Instagram or her website or her gallery of work, these are the colors that she works in. So there wasn't even a discussion about color, because I knew exactly that she's so consistent in her work, and her style is so specific that the color was never even discussed. There may have been some discussion with the art director that it was too dark, and that that there was, I think, some effort maybe to lighten and brighten. And I know that for the major arcana, I asked specifically for like little dots of like sparkly, almost like firefly lights around some of the cards to sort of brighten it up. But we really wanted the whole deck to look like it was being illuminated by torchlight.
Oh, yeah, and I see that
you were walking through a dark forest, with a torch, sort of encountering everything.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, both of them are just, I talk about it every time, and I go on about it a little bit too much, but maybe you can't go on about beauty too much, because it's very, all of these to me are works of art. Every one of the cards is beautiful, like a piece of work of art. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Totally beautiful.
And Roger and I look at that because I'm always buying prints and buying art and framing tarot cards and putting all over our house, right? So
we're running out of wall space.
We're running. He's like, "Where are you going to put that?" And there's nowhere to put that. Tell somebody if. Well, first of all, I wanted to mention, and I think I said this to you when on the last time we talked, but we were in Vegas. Do you remember in Vegas when we went, which is not my favorite place, but we were at the, what were we at in Vegas?
The ASD event.
What was it?
Trade show?
Market. This big old trade show. And I didn't go much. Roger went. And but we always try to go and visit different stores because we know what it's like to own a store. And we went into a store in Vegas. It was not on the strip or anything. It was we
had to drive out for it.
And they didn't have a lot of books, and I was starting my tarot takeaways the next day, and I thought, well, I didn't bring any of my tarot books with me at all. I mean, because they're heavy, and I'm learning not to take every one of my books, every one of my card decks. I'm getting over that. Take one deck, and there was your on the table was, they just didn't sell a lot of books, but was the Lou Allen's complete book of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. So I bought that. And I think that book probably made up for all the other books. This probably weighs 50. I mean, it is, you guys, it is thick and it is good. I mean, you gave me, and we were talking, I had Teresa Reed on, and we were talking about The Fool, because that's when we started with. And right in there, and one of the things you said was so, and of course I have my highlighter, and I was like, that's Sasha. She always tells me something brand new that I've never, ever heard. And not that I've heard everything at all by any means, but, and I was underlining it, and then I read it or said it on the when we were on the show on the Tarot Takeaway, and gave credit, of course. And Teresa's like, yeah, I agree with that. And she was kind of like, that, yeah, that's really interesting. And I think it was about the dog, and the dog being Pamela Coleman Smith's.
Ellen Terry's dog.
Yeah, tell about that.
Ellen Terry's dog. So this was something that I actually discovered in London at the Watson bookshop in London when I was at the UK Tarot Conference about 4 years ago. Are you guys still seeing me okay?
Yeah.
We are, yes.
All right, I'm just making sure that the video
Matt, do you want to say anything? Matt
hasn't cut out.
I mean, she's a little frozen, so maybe restart your video real quick for us.
Okay.
We want to see beautiful Sasha, you guys. So we're sorry.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Is it working?
It is. Here you go. Yeah, tell your story.
So I was at Watkins Bookstore with that's owned by Geraldine Beskin, and she had actually discovered a photograph of Ellen Terry. Now, Ellen Terry was kind of the benefactor of Pamela Coleman Smith, who was the illustrator of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. Pamela Coleman Smith traveled with the Lyceum Theater as a fairly young woman. She was a set designer. She created the programs for the shows along with Bram Stoker. They created them together. And Ellen Terry kind of really adopted Pamela as her own, in a sense, became sort of like a surrogate mother to her. And she had this white dog. And so Geraldine Beskin was showing me all of this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I have to put this in the book. Can I credit you? And she was like, yes, absolutely. So on my Facebook, I have a photo of the two of us holding the photo of Ellen's white dog.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. I mean, that's some research. Good work. I mean, yeah, it's really cool. It's very, to me, that's the kind of stuff that's really cool, to know where the history of, but I love history, and for somebody to do that research and just to know where it came from. And I mean, for me, it's hard to get a book written because I go down the rabbit hole of research of history and then back down that one. I'm not as disciplined probably as you are with as many things as you've done, but I'm learning that I can't go down those rabbit holes, but I want to.
I love a good rabbit hole. I'm obsessed. I love researching and going to the places. So it was extraordinary, to be outside of the British reading room and sit in a pub and drink, where all of those esotericists obviously were hanging out together when they would leave the museum. I love the research is the best part. The exciting, this, Michelle, the exciting part about writing books is the process, right? Once it's done, it's out in the world. It's it's the process of research, and it's the best.
The research is my favorite part, but I do have to learn to control it a little bit, right, Roger?
Yes, she goes way too deep. Way too deep.
Well, maybe I'll find one of those cool stories, like Sasha found.
That's true.
But yeah, I get off, and sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you go really deep, and you think, okay, But on the last book, on the book that I have coming out, Spirits Unveiled, it's not till June. I couldn't find my way. I mean, I was down the rabbit hole, and I couldn't really. I felt like everything I was writing was just repetitive. It was nothing. I wasn't contributing anything new when it started. Remember, we'd be even out. He'd go, "I'm gonna take you out to the lake," and we'd just sit. And he goes, "Now write, and get inspired. You got to be able to get inspired out here, and please write." Because I was getting stressed over this time. And I just wasn't. Finally, through the and Barbara Moore said to me, that the iceberg thing. I said, there's just all this research and nobody will ever know it, what's on top, but hopefully something will come through of all the work that I put in to get to the point of where I needed to be to get the book written, But there was, people I think don't have any idea how much authors, or at least a lot of authors, I'm sure, put in before that book.
Oh, there's got to be thousands of hours put in there before you even are, that people don't even know about it.
Right.
You don't realize how many hours are put in there that's not on paper.
And then finally, I was told, stop deleting it all, because I was deleting everything. I have journals and I write, and then I'd rip them and delete them, and I'm just learning because I'm a newer writer, but and I'm a legal writer, and so that's what you do with legal. When I wrote for law, you research, and then there's a format. And, so you're going to delete it if it's not right. So I'm having to learn a new way of being. But I love the fact that when I read in that book, that hidden gem that you found, and I had never seen that anywhere before. And I do read a lot. I mean, he'll tell you
a couple of books
all the
a
time.
week.
And so it's down to a couple. Used to be about 4.
About 4 now.
But
and that's only because you're writing. You're only reading 2 a week.
Yeah, and doing the store stuff. So anyway, what time it is? Can we do some? Are you ready to do some readings? Should we take some readings? Has anybody?
I'm
asked?
happy to. I did want to say just one thing about, just really quick about writing, that because it's challenging when you're in those places, and I've been in those places too, where you're like going down rabbit holes and it doesn't seem to. And I think that that's why it's always important to be writing about something you don't know about. And I sometimes, in some parts of Magic of Tarot, I struggled because a lot of it was beginner stuff.
Right.
And if you're not writing to answer your own questions in your head, if you're already writing about something you're very familiar with, that can be really challenging. But when you're chasing after something you're still trying to figure out, and the book is the process of figuring that thing out, then I think the writing becomes very exciting.
And thank you for saying that, because that's what ended up happening, because I was thinking I had to have the answers to the spirits all around us that I've seen since I was young. And I was thinking I had to be able to explain to people nobody for eons no one's been able to agree on any of the stuff that I thought Michelle Welch was going to magically, somehow I'm going to be able, in my book, explain it. So I just started writing, and you're right, I was chasing. I'm going to chase my answers, and that's what I started doing, chasing the subject, chasing my questions, chasing my quote-unquote demons that I've had through good and bad demons that I've had, actually looking at spirits and energies from different angles than I've looked at them before, and things maybe people may not agree with, but I put it in the book because I just turned it upside down, on its head, sideways, and that's exactly what I did, Sasha, when it was all said and done, because the book started out me just saying, this is what a so-and-so is, this is what a guide is, this is what an angel is, and I thought, oh, how boring, this is not what I want to write. So you're exactly right. I had to go to where what I needed answers for that I might not be able to answer. But at least I could pose questions and we could explore together in the book. So, and
the best mysteries aren't supposed to be explained, right? They're just supposed to be played with. So that's where we come in anyway.
And
as
esoteric
teachers.
And I think that's the kind of book, and that's why I like everything you do, is because the first time I saw you, I'd seen you already, but I think I'd seen you before you spoke at Reader Studio. But when you spoke, you leaned forward and you got the attention of the audience immediately, by the way you leaned into the audience. I mean, just not even standing, even just speaking. I think you were being interviewed. and you were sitting and you just leaned forward and I didn't know if that was your acting experience, also your character, your personality. It was probably all together. But I thought, I want to know what she has to say. And I think that's what every person and author needs to do, because when I pick up a book, I want to know. And the Magic of Tarot, I can tell you guys, when you do pick it up, even the cover, don't you want to know what it has to say? I mean, the cover's amazing. So we do have it at Soultopia. We do have it, the deck too. And so you can get it here. And we can do a few readings. Should we go ahead and do that now?
Yeah. There's people in here want readings.
Have I asked you, is there anything else that you need to tell us or want to tell us about where you're going to be soon, or to promote the book, or anything else that you wanted to say before we go into readings, Sasha?
Yeah, actually. So if you're in the New York City area, I have a couple of events coming up. This Tuesday and then November 9th out in Industry City, Brooklyn. I've got my Psychic and Paranormal event this coming Tuesday. And then on November 9th, I'm hosting Ghost Stories by the Fire, which is this phenomenal event because I'm bringing my psychics and tarot readers, who of course are always interfacing with ghosts and spirits, to tell stories about the paranormal. But then the audience gets up and you could win a haunted house tarot if you tell a story about a haunted house. Oh, and cool. So it's this really phenomenal evening. We have horror authors come. It's fab. I'm also going to be signing books at Forbidden Planet on Broadway, I think on October 27th. I'll be teaching a shadow day-long workshop at Circle of Wisdom Books in Methuen, Massachusetts, November 5th. And I'll be teaching a 7 Sacred Cornerstones of Constant Magic workshop in person in Sugarloaf, New York, at a magical store there. Everything's on SashaGraham.com.
Oh, that is awesome. And I did see the ghost stories thing. I was like, I want to go to that. I mean, I really did. I thought that sounds really cool.
It's really
I'm shocked
fun.
You're depressed that we're not actually got her here doing something.
Yeah, well, no, she needs to come here and do, well, she is going to come here and do some things, but we'll talk about that later. So, let's do some readings. You want to?
All right. So the first one is Kim, and just a general reading for Kim.
And Sasha, I think you've done this before. How we do it is we've got about 15 minutes approximately. We'll just take these and we'll each give a little reading, kind of a lightning reading with one card so each one of us will read a little bit for Kim, with one card, if that's
awesome.
Okay?
Awesome. Should I go first?
You should go. If you're ready, or Roger can. I'm still getting my cards out.
Go ahead, Sasha.
Alrighty, because I've been shuffling with my Haunted House Tarot. Ooh, 4 of Cups. And as we see, there's this very beguiling woman who's sitting at a table. She's got lots of choices in front of her, but she's looking away from the very choice which is what she kind of wants. So my reading for you right now, whatever it is that you're looking for, it is being offered to you. It is just being offered to you in a way which you may not recognize. So take a step back and kind of pull your blinders off, if that's possible, and reassess the lay of the land around you.
Who are we reading for? Kim? Okay, I'll go next. So I got from the Darkwood Tarot that we've been talking about by Sasha Graham and art by Abigail Larson. I got can we still do this? Okay, thank you, Matt. I got the Ace of Wands. So here's the torch all the way, the wands. And I'll just kind of tag on to Sasha's reading and say, it is right in front of you. Ask for it to be revealed to you a little bit more, maybe what is right, and I don't mean this rude, but it's right in front of your face, and maybe you just don't want to see it, or it's not revealing itself exactly the way you thought it would come to you, but it's there. So the same as Sasha, but a little bit stronger, it's being revealed. Open your eyes. It's going to ask for even more illumination because it's there.
Cool. Well, I got the Ace of Pentacles.
And Roger's reading using the Radiant.
Yeah, Radiant Rider-Waite. But I got the Ace of Pentacles here, Kim. And
Two aces.
so what I get, though, from this is actually to get out of your own way and accept that. Michelle and Sasha are talking about it, right? But you need to get out of your own way and just accept those gifts.
So 2 aces out of the 3 readers there. So potentially some new beginnings or a new way of looking at things.
Yeah.
But simply an Ace of Pentacles and an Ace of Wands. So that's action. Take some action and some is what I'm getting too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, next is Lexi, and she wants to know, should she do a children's book?
Lexi. Well, I would love to hear what Sasha says because I know Lexi, but it doesn't matter that you know somebody. You can still absolutely read for them, but I didn't know this was in her idea thing. So,
ooh, I have the Magician card for you. So 100% yes. And doing this is going, and the Magician in the Haunted House Tarot is a butler who's kind of opening the door and saying, come on in. So there's very much this kind of you opening a new creative door for yourself and your audience, where you're really going to be able to perform well. Like this is really going to bring out your talents and your charisma. And it's also going to be a lot of fun and very magical.
Mine's a yes too, because I got the Fool card, and I'm saying take that leap of faith. Sasha, since this is your beautiful card, do you want to add anything on from what you see in this card?
Just, did she say, Lexi said this was a children's
book?
Children's book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just look at that and it looks like a young kind of child setting out on an adventure. Like my shadow witch, she is young and she's got her animal companion. So very much, it feels very childlike to me. And I love that the Fool comes before the Magician. So it's perfect.
Exactly.
It's lining up.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I love that. Thank you for sharing on your deck there. Okay.
And Lexi, what I get is that you need to stop putting it off and just go ahead and get started with it.
Okay. Go for it.
Stop putting it off. All right. Next is Kelly.
That's exciting, Lexi.
And she's looking for a reading. Give her a little bit of direction.
Kelly. Okay.
Yeah.
So just some direction. Okay. I'm going to shuffle here a little bit. Kelly, just give us a second. Okay, you want to go, Rob? Or go ahead, Sasha. You ready?
Got the Death card. The
Ooh,
Death
cool.
card. So again, in this particular Death card, she is an angel of death who is coming to kind of ravish you into the afterlife. So the direction that you need to head in is one that you've never gone in before. This is really an about face turn. This is really about letting go of anything that doesn't make you feel like a super bad goddess, and powerful witch. So the direction is go hard, go strong, don't go home, move forward. There's no stopping you.
I love this Eight of Wands. The flames are going up. I'm going to show you guys. I love this depiction. This has now become one of my favorite depictions of the Eight of Wands. Do you guys see this? So those wands are just, she's laying kind of, down on the ground, and she's looking up, and the wands are floating above her, and she just needs to reach up. It's exactly what you just said, Sasha. You need to, Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Kelly, just reach up, and I feel release in this. I feel release to release some things and grab hold of some other things. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. So I got the Two of Pentacles. And Kelly, what I kind of popped in my head when, because I came out of sales, and we used to do this thing in sales called the Benjamin Franklin close. And basically what it was, you'd write down, you had a choice to make, and you'd always write down the pros and the cons and see which one outweighed the other side, right? So I know you've got some things coming up, and you need to do that. Just write down the pros and the cons, and actually write it down in a notebook and look before you make a decision, and see which one of those actually feels like it's a better you should do it or not do it. because you need to make sure these choices that you're making are, because these could be like long-term choices you're making now.
Okay.
Okay. And next will be Carlton.
Oh, Carlton. So Carlton is a Soultopian and is a big Sasha fan. So,
Hi, Carlton.
not I mean, I'm sure everybody listening is a big Sasha fan, but Carlton is a...
Does Carlton have a question?
Just a general reading.
You guys can ask questions if you want. If you are okay with them being on the air.
Yeah.
The Four of Pentacles. And it's interesting because the Four of Pentacles in the Haunted House Tarot, right, is this creepy doll. And because we're so close to Halloween, and this is, traditionally associated with kind of, I don't know, like revenge magic, I feel like you are in a very well-grounded space right now because the four does imply stability. But I do feel like there's a little deviant, dark magic that has to involve not in you casting it on someone else, but allowing yourself to go into places you normally don't allow yourself to go into. Have a little bit of fun and kind of walk that line with the spooky stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Carlton be open to that. I know I can answer that for him, right?
Yep.
You want me to go next?
Go ahead.
Carlton, I drew the Ten of Cups, and I love, again, this version. It's the wolf family, and all the different colors of the wolves in there too. The grays, the tans, the dark. Your different colors. I always look at the different colors of the wolves, and that they, to me, mean different things or can mean different things. But this Ten of Cups, I know that you personally already know that you, and I think I can say this, you would be okay with this, with some family issues. I'm glad to see this card come up for you, Carlton. I think just keep following your heart and maybe tie that into what you might need to tie it into what you got from Sasha and from Roger. But this one is really, one's just, one of the wolves, two are playing, and one's sitting there just very calmly, and one is howling at the moon. And as though I'm speaking my mind over my family. This is my domain. And I feel like you need to start knowing your domain, your territory within your family. And you're old enough to start claiming that within your family.
And funny is, I got the Ten of Pentacles.
Another 10.
Yep, and another family style card too.
Mm-hmm.
So this one actually, I get though, Carlton, is, a lot of times parts are people in our family, they don't always appreciate what we do or who we are or how we live. But with you, I think that's something that is, that is going to be more open for you and actually more accepting with your family and all.
And we're not picking on Carlton's family. He's got a great family. But, we all have our little journeys that we go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Listen to you.
Yes.
Roger. All right. Do you have anybody
next
else?
is going to be Alana, and she wants to know about her career.
Okay. Thank you, Sasha, for doing these. You guys are getting one of the best tarot readers reading for you right now. So.
Well, I'm always here.
Oh, Roger. Okay.
Oh, well, this is a career reading?
Yes, career reading.
So I've got the Five of Pentacles here, which we all know, tarot readers know, right? Mm-hmm. Fives often imply challenges. In the Haunted House Tarot, there's these like crazy crustacean creatures kind of rustling about. I feel like there is a bit of confusion while there's all this gold and sort of like beautiful talent and potential inside of you. I would say in any way that what you're doing now doesn't serve you, move through it so you can just kind of get at that inner magic in you that is right work that needs to come out, and it will. You just have to kind of get through this difficult bit.
I agree. I drew the moon, another beautiful card. And I'm going to say that shadow work that we were speaking about earlier, the subconscious, some things that you maybe haven't wanted to look at, you might want to take a look at. They're there. You've kind of stuffed them down. You've repressed them a little bit. And it ties into this career issue. What do you really want? Or what, again, kind of goes back to what Roger says. You may need to do some self-assessment of what is it you really want and is viable for the situation that you're in. I'm getting that wants, needs, but also viability. The word viability keeps coming to me. But this is definitely a card of doing some work to figure that out.
Yeah. And I actually got the Page of Wands. And Alana, what I get from the Page of Wands, actually, if you kind of think about it, let's back it up a card, which would be the 10, which is completion of things, right? So I kind of feel like you're probably where you're at work-wise. You're probably kind of just like, you're done with it. You're ready for that next chapter, and you're just ready to kind of end where you're at now. And it's time now to start looking at your next steps and moving on to another career, something totally different than what you have been doing.
And the thing with Alana, I would say, I didn't even remember who we were reading for when I was reading. I would say Alana, add to that, just came to me intuitively, is that when Roger said the next steps, I really want to go back to that. What do you want? Don't wake up 2, 3, 4 years from now and say, how did I get to this point in life? Really manage your life. Manage what's going on in your life. Be proactive in it instead of just following along with, where your career is taking you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Want to do one more, or do you want to do the 3?
Let's do the 1, 2, 3, so we'll end on time. And so Sasha, this is when we do a reading for the week, which I'm sure you're familiar with. We'll do everyone listening will pick card number 1, reading number 1, reading number 2, or reading number 3. I'm not going to tell y'all yet who's going to do the reading for you, but just pick it, get it in your mind, number 1, number 2, or number 3. It will be one of us giving you that reading. Get 1, 2, or 3 in your mind now. Got it? Okay, and we will let Sasha read for the number 1s.
Okay, so number 1s. Ooh, your card for the week is the Knight of Cups. So this is the card of seduction, poetry, beauty, a very light touch. So whatever it is that you're kind of, like the court cards are often attitudes for us to take. Like romance everybody this week. Romance everything around you. Romance yourself. This is all about sort of earthly, delicious, romantic delights. Yeah. So make it a sensual, romantic week in every way possible. And not just with those who you're like romantically attached to, but just your friends, your family, your children, your parents, everybody. Be charming and be delicious.
I love that.
Which card was that?
That was 1.
No.
That was the Knight of Cups.
Knight of Cups, okay.
Did you get a Knight also?
Nope.
Okay, I got the Knight of Wands.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I was like, if you got a Knight also, that'd be really cool. So you guys,
I can try again.
Look at no. Look at this Knight of Wands, all you number 2s, and with the Knight of Wands, which this week I would encourage you. You're going to want to go for it. You're ready. You're rearing at the bit. Just is that a saying? Rearing at the bit.
Sure, it is now.
It is now because I said it. But you are ready to go in. You are ready to rush in to save the day. And be ready to do that. I love the motivation, the action. Some of us, I'm a number 2, might need to pull back on the reins just a little bit. Don't be impulsive. Check yourself and then go for that action. It's a card of action. This card really is. I mean, this Knight is like, okay, here I am and here I come. And I'm going to lead the way. So, yeah. But be careful, those of you who tend to be impulsive in that.
Well, speaking of impulsive, I got the lovers card. So kind of ties into both of what y'all were saying a little bit, but also kind of keep in mind, with the lover's card, a lot of times it's about temptations, lustful, things like that. So kind of play the edge a little bit, but also enjoy life a little bit. But remember, no clothes, no service.
Okay.
Don't be coming in Soultopia all naked and stuff.
We've talked about that a lot since the whole mask thing.
I know, right?
Because we used to say, what is it?
You have to wear a mask, don't have to wear clothes.
You can wear a mask, but stores could tell you that you had to wear shoes, right?
No shoes, no shirt, no service.
Mask.
Right.
So what'd you say?
Please wear clothes to Soultopia. Stay naked. Naked.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're in Texas, you're naked, right?
You're naked. And then he's Tennessee, Texas, and Mississippi all rolled into one. So that's you're getting naked. Is that how you say it?
Good, naked.
Oh, God. All right. So, Sasha, tell us. I'm so glad you came on tonight. And thank you for for everybody who was watching, listening. And really, this is a podcast. So the audio is a bonus. So, and you have such a beautiful setting there in the background. So, and the colors are just gorgeous. I want to copy those in our living room.
Of course.
But tell us one more time where we can find you, so that everybody can find you and find all of your good stuff that you're doing.
So everything, my sort of home base is SashaGraham.com. So you can find all of my socials there. On Instagram, I'm Sasha Tarot Diva. On Facebook, I think I'm just Sasha Graham 1. And yeah, SashaGraham.com. And that's where you can get all of my books, read my stuff, send me an email, shoot me a DM, register for an event, find out about classes. It's all right there.
That is so awesome. And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. I look forward to talking to you soon. I hope to come to New York soon to see you and my son and James in New York City. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, everyone else, for joining us. And we hope you all have a wonderful week. And catch us next week on SoulWhat.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
again.
Thanks, Sasha.
Good night. Thank you, Sasha.
Thanks for listening to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. If you're intrigued, searching, or looking to schedule a reading of your very own, visit us in sunny Dallas, Texas, or visit us online at facebook.com/Soultopia Holistic Boutique. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting platform to be the first to hear new episodes every Tuesday at 7:30 Central.